Hi. I read an Oscar Wilde play today. Obviously, I've read The Importance of Being Earnest and I've seen it, and I love the show to death. So I thought it would be fun to read some of his other stuff because lots of people know The Importance of Being Earnest, but some of his other stuff is less well known. I read Lady Windemere's Fan, which was hilarious and kind of weirdly satisfying, but not at the end. Oscar Wilde, it seems to me, well, it doesn't just seem to me, it seems to most people who have read him, really loves to make fun of society in all of the ways that it does strange things to us. Particularly since, he lived in a time that was much more about, society than society as we think of it now. That's the difference. Society versus society. The Importance of Being Earnest, probably you've at least heard of it, if not seen it or read it. But I would say that the piece of society that he is mocking in that show is identity and how we get so wrapped up in our, the face that we give forth to the world. Lady Windemere's Fan, I would say, is about good versus bad. And I don't mean good versus evil in the, good versus evil epic tale of destruction and adventure type thing. This is more in the whether you are a good person or a bad person sense. At the very beginning, Lady Windemere, who is obviously the protagonist, well, I say obviously, there are plenty of plays that are named for characters who aren't the protagonist. Julius Caesar, anyone? Lady Windemere, who is the protagonist, and the title character also, she has a fan, obviously. The play is called that, but it's not about that. It is about that, but that's not the point. Lady Windemere is very puritanical and believes that people are either good or they are bad. So, of course, the whole play exists basically to challenge all of Lady Windemere's preconceived notions about good and bad. She also has this guy who's insanely in love with her, and that story just sort of peters out, so I feel really bad for him because he's very serious about it. She's married, so, maybe I shouldn't feel bad for him, but he thinks she's married unhappily and he wants to save her from that, so whatever. Oscar Wilde loves all of this mistaken identity and secrets kept and misunderstandings, and it sounds very much like a farce, and it's kind of like a farce, except there's less rushing in and out of doors and more, clever puns and wordplay. Oscar Wilde also really likes parents and secret parents and people in the play who seem like they couldn't possibly be other people's parents and turn out to be in the end. Just something I've noticed. Maybe 2 plays does not a pattern make, but the 2 plays of his I've read so far have both involved that, so hey, who knows. The thing that's also cool about him, and you're going to hear me talking about the reason that I love characters over and over again, but Oscar Wilde's characters are very, very complex. And it's in a way that all of the characters, like Lady Windemere, at the beginning, I really like her, and at the end, or in the middle, I sort of didn't like her and wanted to strangle her, and then in the end, I sort of felt sorry for her and liked her again. And Lord Windemere, I hated in the beginning, and then liked in the middle, and then kind of hated again at the end, and it just sort of goes back and forth, and it's cool that no one is just, because in a lot of comedies, not all, but there's a stereotype with comedies that the characters are all very one-dimensional and stock characters, which is fine. Stock characters can be great, but it's cool to see a comedy like this that's so well developed in its characterization. I should explain what I meant by the ending being satisfying but not, and I don't want to give it away in case anyone hasn't read it and wants to. It's sort of like what I said about The Elephant Man, where it sort of comes to an end at a weird place, but it's a weird place that I feel like kind of works, because it's left in a way that stuff probably is going to get resolved. And most of the stuff has been resolved. The most important stuff has. But there's not everything tied up neatly at the end, which I don't personally need everything to be tied up neatly at the end. As long as I have a pretty clear picture of what is going to happen, I don't need to see it all happen on the stage in front of my eyes. There's still some things that it feels like that's too loose of an end to just leave dangling forevermore. This was almost to that point. That would be none. Almost. This is none. This is almost. Almost to that point. But not quite. So I liked it. I mean, I probably would have liked it even if it did have lots and lots and lots and lots of loose ends, but I liked the ending the way it was. I have 2 quotes because they're both very short, and Oscar Wilde is just too wonderful to only do one. One of them, which is so Oscar Wilde, like, if you've read anything by him, this will just sound so much like him, and also kind of is something that I agree with. I think life is far too important a thing to ever talk seriously about it. And then the other one, what is a cynic? A man who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. And a sentimentalist, my dear Darlington, is a man who sees an absurd value in everything and doesn't know the market price of any single thing. Lady Windemere's fan. Look at my cat, she's cute, and I'm putting her in my vlog 'cause I feel like it. Haiku! Yeah, okay, you're cute. Bye!